Hey Sydney, I see you. Alrighty, alrighty. I'm gonna give people a minute to come through, and in the meantime, I'm gonna kind of give an overview of the series, what this is about, and what we're gonna be doing. I hope you can hear me okay. I have like the fan on, and I have my music playing in the background just for this intro. So let me know, or hit the like or the hearts if you can hear me okay. But yeah, so basically I wanted to do this series, like I've said in one of my previous lives, that I wanted to do this series because I think during this time period we're in a really I think during this time period we're in a really pivotal time point where it's necessary for us to have like these conversations, and these conversations that we've kind of been having amongst our peers, or we've been having like on the low, but these conversations aren't really being had like in the public. So I kind of wanted to start the conversation because the song that I came up with, which I really had written early this year, late last year, before all of this, before everything that has been occurring in this world. And if you've heard it already, it's called Pay Me What You Owe. So we're going to be talking to different guests throughout this week and throughout the whole month of July. And basically, we're going to be getting their perspectives on different areas of their career. So this week is this week is 2020 graduates. I really wanted to start off with them because I feel like they are, I'm interested in just hearing their perspectives on a lot of things, because I think they're in a really pivotal time, a really crucial time, and I think it's important to hear what they have to say, and so we can understand what they're going through. So today we have our first guest, which is Sydney. I want to shout out first to Medina for connecting me to her. I'm so happy that she did that. And when Medina gets on, I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. But yeah, she's a 2020 graduate from City College, and she's going to kind of be going to depth regarding her experience in her senior year, especially this last semester. And she's going to be discussing her internships, what her plans were for this year, post-grad, and like how those have been affected with COVID-19, and just how everything has been affecting her journey thus far. So I'm going to get Sydney on here very quickly. Technology, let's see if we can get this. She says she has Teddy Riley connection. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sweating profusely. Like I sweat when I'm nervous, so please excuse that. Hey, can you hear me?
Hey girl. Yes.
Yes, okay, I can hear you clearly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to start off with you, and I'm so excited that like you accepted to come chit chat about some things, because these aren't really the easiest conversations to have. And I think, like I said before, as a 2020 graduate, you probably have a lot to say, or you have a lot on your mind. So I kind of want to get your perspective on that. But before we go in, please introduce yourself and let us know your claim to fame, girl.
I can't see you now.
Oh, I can see you.
Should I come back?
No, I think we can see and hear you.
Okay, I can't see you, but I guess.
I think you're good. I mean, you can go, if you want to, you can go out and come back just in case.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. As we wait, how is everyone doing on this fine, what is it, Monday? How are we doing? Oh, okay, you see and hear us both. Okay. Then maybe it was just her end. I'll give her some time to come in. But while we wait for her, I guess I can go a little bit in my backstory. I kind of mentioned it before, but I graduated school May 2018, and I majored in public relations. I majored in communications with a concentration in PR, and I was a very I was a very involved person. Got it. I see you. I was a very involved person, and I was always interning. I was always working. I was always trying to keep busy. And basically, once I graduated, even though I had all this experience, it was still so hard for me to get that first opportunity, that first job. And I can go into it a little bit more, but now that Sydney is back, let me get her in here. Ooh, technology, y'all. Technology. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're good. The audience sees and hears you. So, yeah, go ahead and let us know who you are, your claim to fame, what you do. We can get into it.
My claims to fame, LOL. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney. I just graduated this spring from the City College of New York, where I met my good sis, Medina. Definitely going to talk about Medina in a minute because she's a big part of my experience that I'm going to talk about. I graduated with a double major in English with a concentration in creative writing and political science.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting majors. They seem kind of polarizing.
Yeah.
Like, by looking at it, but I'm sure you'll tell us the correlation on what your thought was when you kind of majored in both of those.
Definitely.
Just to kick things off, obviously we have to talk about coronavirus. So, what was your plans for the last semester of school, and how did that change once COVID-19 kind of really messed up your plans, if it did at all?
Well, for one, I was definitely planning to have my graduation ceremonies. I was really looking forward to that. I think this year I hit more of like an academic slump in the sense that I was like really feeling the burnout of going to class, and I was just like, I need to graduate. Like, I'm ready for my diploma. I want to be out. Um, I think that was probably the biggest thing that Corona messed up for me because I still had my internship. I work currently at a law office in Soho, and so that's where I was working. I also was working part-time at Urban Outfitters. So while I don't work at Urban now because of Corona, I still had my internship. So I was communicating with my boss, and he would send me different projects. Um,
Okay.
so for the most part, nothing really changed in the academic sense or in my professional sense, other than having to stay home from working at those two jobs.
Okay. And for your internship at the law office, before, were you going in office all the time? Like, were you commuting from like your campus into the office, and then everything shifted to like work from home?
Yeah, so I had a crazy schedule. I was going to school, and then some days I would go to the office, but then there were some days where I would go to school and then go to work until closing, which was 11. Um,
Mm.
so that was a lot back and forth, out all day. But since Corona's hit, my boss will just send me different documents to go over, and
Yeah.
like if there are any songs that he needs me to look over, because I work in an entertainment law office, and
Yeah.
so I deal with a lot of copyright infringement and looking over contracts and things like that. So if he needs me to look over anything, or he wants me to look over anything just so that I can like add to my repertoire, then I'll go over that. But he's really flexible. He's a really nice guy, a Howard grad. We have a really good connection. So it's not really a pressure cooker type of situation or very stressful because he is so open.
Good. I'm definitely glad to hear that, because I
Yeah.
think not all employers can be like that. Even now, some employers, even though Corona is still out here, you still have some employers kind of getting their employees ready to come back in the office, even though they know it's not safe. So
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear that you have like a flexible boss. And you mentioned that you are an entertainment, specifically an entertainment intern, or I guess I should say you intern for an entertainment law office.
Hmm.
So you can kind of go into like your passion for entertainment and kind of how you stumbled upon that internship specifically.
Okay, cool. So this goes into why I decided to major in two things that seem so polarizing.
Yeah.
My first love is English. Anyone who knows me, I see my good sis Kate is on here. Anyone who knows me knows that poetry is my thing. I love reading. I love creative writing. Um, and so that is something that I wanted to keep doing. But then on the other side, it's like I don't want to be broke. I want to be able to sustain myself and my family,
Mhm.
you know, when I get to that point. And so initially I was thinking about doing, you know, the whole med school track. And then once biology finished, I was like, yeah, I think I'm good on that sophomore year. So I decided I would try political science.
Mhm.
I started doing political science and I got into the honors program at my school. So that program gave me a lot of support in terms of understanding what law school would feel like from different alumni, getting actual training and test prep help for the law school admission test, and just having access to a lot of different advisors when it comes to writing my personal statement and understanding financials in the process.
Mhm.
So when it came to political science, I was like, okay, I'm double majoring, but I also don't want to forget that I love English so much. So, is there any way that I could possibly merge the two? And I found entertainment law. I started talking to people, and one of my classmates, he actually worked at this law office, and he was like, you know, Sydney, I think you would really enjoy it. I think it would be great for you. You should definitely apply. He knows. Um, he talked to his boss about me, and so I went in for the interview, and I got the job. I've been there since last January, and it's
Good.
been really great just getting to see the legal side of the entertainment world. So I'll read contracts from writers, other singing groups, which are like pretty well known groups. Um,
Cool.
I get to watch different movies or read screenplays that my boss's client might send him for feedback. So
Mhm.
it's definitely kept me, you know, in both my passion and something that will, you know, support me more financially, I guess. That's like the
Mhm.
traditional way to see it. But I think
Yeah.
it's cool to see the inner workings of the entertainment side.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I love that you thought about that in a, I guess I could say like maybe a practical way. Like I appreciate that. Like you thought, okay, I know I want to be in this creative world, but I also need this supporting skill, or I think it's beneficial to kind of have like a supporting knowledge and something else that would help me, you know, in my
Yeah.
creative aspect. I always think I was just having this conversation with my sister, my eldest sister, and I always feel like it's so important to have your core skill or your core passion. So for you, it sounds like it would be writing, but it's, and then in support of that core skill, those other skills that will help that core skill. So that would be learning political science, learning law, like learning legalese. Like those are all super important to kind of give you that, you know, career you want. Now I want you to, you can quickly talk about your internship at Ebony Magazine, because I know you just got that. And once you kind of give some information on that, I kind of want to see, now that you've graduated and now that you've had, you know, pretty strong internships, like what the process is. I know you mentioned to me that you were going to pursue your master's, but even after your master's, like when you're thinking about like full-time job, what have you done research on it? Like what what have you done to kind of prepare yourself for that first full-time job, especially as it relates to getting paid for your work? So you can talk about your internship at Ebony Magazine, and then we can kind of go to that next question.
Okay, cool. So for Ebony, I haven't signed my NDAs yet, so I don't really know like how much I can say and how much I can't say.
That's
But
fine.
I think first and foremost, I have to. There's no way I can have this conversation without thanking Medina. Um,
Shout
Medina
out to Medina.
Medina is just 10 out of 10. Sis is just 10 across the board. Um,
Yes.
Medina and I had a class together. Ooh, man, when was that? I think it was last spring. We took a class together, and that's when I met. Well, I met Medina previously on campus, but this was the first time we actually interacted more often. And when I was working at Urban in the winter, Medina popped up, and she was with another friend of ours, and we just started talking about our interests, and she was telling me all the amazing things she's doing in the entertainment world. and I was telling her about my passions, specifically with law school, but wanting to branch out and do something else since I already figured out I wanted to take a gap year. And then boom, Corona happened, and it's like perfect time for a gap year. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
isn't this nice? And so Medina was really supportive. Like, Medina was that friend who listens to your passions, and if she sees something out there that could match you, she sends it to you. And so that's what she did. The
Yes, I have to co-sign that, and most people here probably don't know who Medina is, but she's one of Sydney's peers who went to City College as well. And I met Medina through LinkedIn, and like I could co-sign exactly what you're saying, Sydney.
really,
When I was just talking to her, I was just talking to her to get to know her, to like learn about her interests, because like I saw, ooh, like she looks like she's really interested in entertainment. So when I started talking to her, like you said, if I need help or if there's a resource she knows about, she will be the first one. Okay, here are like the 5 things you should take a look at. Here you go. So yeah.
yes, Medina is so on it, and she's so genuine with it. And so, um, and I feel like she follows everyone, you know? So I was just chilling, and then I got a message from her, and the woman who's in charge of the Ebony internship, she apparently had posted on her Instagram story, and she was like, if there are any writers or anyone interested in social media, for Ebony magazine, contact me either via DM or email. Medina sent that to me. I definitely wouldn't have known otherwise. So I was like, thank you. I actually hit up the girl in her DMs, and we started talking that day. And after that, we started corresponding for, I believe, maybe 2 to 3 weeks just via email. Finally had a phone call conversation. And you know that moment where it's like, it's too good to be true, so you have to kind of pinch yourself? I was on the phone and I was like, so are you thinking about other candidates, or is it me? And she was like, oh, no, you have it. So I was like,
Oh, nice.
thank God. This was definitely something that I had wanted and I prayed for. But it was also like, this is something I wanted so bad, but none of my professors knew how to help me out by getting this opportunity, you know? And it's crazy to think that I was literally in an English degree surrounded by other professors, and there weren't really concrete steps onto how to get an opportunity like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like I'm paying money for a solid education, and an education that should prepare me to go out and, you know, conquer this professional world. Like you were saying in your IG live about the series, like there's so many things that we're told in school, but I think they're talked about in such an abstract sense that we don't get the actual foundation to say, okay, these are step-by-step things you need to look for. And had it not been for Medina, I would have never known about that.
Absolutely. And like you just hit on something that like I learned, like it's confirmed to me every single day. The more and more I talk to people, the more and more I meet people, is that like networking, something you're never really taught in school, is
Mm-hmm.
probably number one in terms of finding a job, in terms of like just getting opportunities, in terms of just life in general, getting yourself out there, talking to people, making friends, finding organizations, clubs, networks that you are surrounded by like-minded people. Like they don't, like you said, they don't really teach you the steps of finding an opportunity like that, and it's kind of sad because like you said, you're paying money, thousands of dollars to an institution, and the institution is they're giving you knowledge. They're giving you general knowledge, sometimes specific knowledge, but they're not giving you the specific knowledge you need to actually get the job. Once you get the job, okay, some of the things you learn in school will apply, but a lot of the times, how to get the job, that in between space after you graduate, that's
Mm-hmm.
not part of the curriculum. It's really not. So I love that you hit on the importance of like that person, that one person that just changed your whole, that changed your whole trajectory, Um, so now that you graduated, like I mentioned before, I know you mentioned going for your master's, but it sounded like you might take a gap year. What's your whole full-time job plan? And do you feel like you're prepared for that?
So I think what Corona has taught me is that I need to be flexible with my plan. And it's even crazy that I'm saying that out loud because I'm such a person that even though I procrastinate, I thrive on having step-by-step plans. Anything that I can read as an instruction or as a set of directions, I know exactly what I need to do. And there's very less anxiety and guesswork when it comes to that. Corona came and it really shook me up with that. So since I got this position at Ebony, now my mind is going and I'm like, yes, my plan was just to take a year off, but now I'm thinking, I am open to extending that because I've gotten a job that really meshes with my passion wholeheartedly. It's not me working minimum wage hourly shifts at Urban Outfitters just so that I can have money in my pocket. This is an internship that I have prayed for. This is an internship that I knew would fulfill me because of the things it offers, because of the experience and the connections that it would give me. And so while yes, law school is definitely what I want to do, I have had to get comfortable with the idea of still staying on my course, finishing what I need to finish for my law school admissions paperwork and applying and taking the test, but being open to seeing how I can use this current internship at Ebony to propel me into a more long-term job or career, I should say, actually, because I feel like working retail or other jobs is a job. It doesn't really feed your passion. And so in terms of, getting more like a legal job full time, it has been less on my mind because I think throughout going to law school, that will fall into place. I'm not too stressed about it. And I think having this internship has really shown me that even if we plan, down to a T, we can't expect everything. And so I think for me, it's just like taking what I can with this internship, really putting my best foot forward, showing that I'm an asset. Like, again, all the abstract things they tell us when they talk about interviews in college, like, show them why they need you, like, step up to the plate. And now that COVID has literally eliminated any sort of in-person work style, I have to do all of that virtually through text messages, through emails, and the work that I put out. So I think for me, that's like my big focus, aside from doing what I need to do for law school, making the most out of this internship to set me up for other professional opportunities is what is really driving me right now.
Absolutely. And I think that's good. And I'm glad you're being adaptable to the situation at hand because, like you said, you can never predict something like this. And I feel like just in general in life, it's always kind of important to be flexible enough that if something happens and switches up, you can still keep moving forward, So I'm glad to hear that. So in terms of even though you're not immediately looking for that full-time job, you're open to it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious in terms of doing the necessary research regarding salary. Now, I don't know if you've gotten to that stage yet, but I'm just curious. For your major or for your industry, have you ever looked at the different salaries for people at different levels of experience in your industry? Just kind of, what do you know regarding your salary in your industry? Because
so for
like this is something. Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I feel like sometimes salary, I said networking was number one of the most important things. I think number two is figuring out how to determine your salary. And that is another thing college does not tell you.
At
that is the most
all.
important thing because there's so many factors that take place that can change what you might make. So how do you feel about, like, do you feel like, okay, like when I get out there in the job market, I know like how much I like, I know my value, I know what I'm worth, I'm comfortable with that? Or do you feel like, I'm actually not too sure, because I just don't have a clue? Like, where do you fall in that?
I'm definitely on the I'm not sure. Um I
I know I was.
it's frustrating, you know. It's like it's what you talked about in your live a few days ago when you were talking about this project that you're doing, this series. It's like, you know your worth, you know your abilities, but to then monetize that, I'm struggling with that crossover and that equation,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
like you said, you know, even negotiating for your salary, like, that's something I've heard, but it's never something that I've been taught to do. Um, I've looked up the average salary for someone, you know, who wants to be in the entertainment law business, but at the same time, I don't know how that factors into me as an individual.
Yes,
And I feel
exactly.
like that's the crossover that's not happening. And I think a lot of people in my age group, in my predicament right now with COVID and graduating, it's like, or even people who are currently in school, it's like, are those conversations going to happen? How do we teach people how to monetize their intangible abilities into their salary? Because my thing is,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I want these jobs. Yes, I want all these things, and I know that I'm good. And I obviously have to start somewhere. You know, it's not like they're going to start paying me $1 million
Of
out the
course.
gate. But then realizing how, for lack of a better word, realizing how I'm getting played versus just staying stagnant, I think is really
Yeah.
important. You know, and when you don't have experience in a field, it kind of leaves you uncertain, and that's where I am. I've obviously never been to law school. This, you know, when I go in 2021, hopefully, you know, that'll be the first time, and then I'll be entering a completely new job market. Neither of my parents are lawyers. I don't have any close family members that are lawyers. So for me to go in, one, I'm not trying to sell my soul to corporate just to be, you know, burnt out. Yeah,
Let's
I'm making
go.
money, but I don't want to be burnt out. And I just feel like those conversations of understanding, you know, the financial aspect is what I'm struggling with.
Oh, yeah. It's so hard because I feel like when I just feel like when I graduated school in 2018 and I was in that market, I was the same way. And even now, even though like I don't have my current job anymore, it's always the same thing. Even in music and whatever industry, it's like, how do I like quantify like what I'm worth? Like you said, it's like, okay, you get it. Like if you have X amount of experience, it's X dollars. But like, what if you have more skills? You might
Yeah.
have 1 year of technical experience at a job, but you have all of these other, like you said, intangible skills. Like you've done so much other work that kind of feels like 1 year doesn't really mean anything because I've done so much more. You know, it's so hard. My
Mm-hmm.
sister, she's in the comments. She would be great to talk to regarding like figuring out like your worth. You know, she's very like I know what I'm worth, and but she took it took her a while to get to that place where she realized what she's worth. But I want us, especially as Black women, like I want us to start figuring that out much earlier. Like I want us to come out of college being like, okay, due to my calculations, I'm worth this much, and I don't care. I don't care if it is entry level. I'm not going below that. I really want it to start getting there. Hopefully sooner or later.
I would love to
But
connect with
yeah,
her.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you her IG afterwards. Um, what else? There's so many things I wanted to hit on. Um, ooh, okay, this is a big one. So, with the uprisings with the Black community, not only in the States, but like around the world, you know, talking about salaries and just talking about jobs and talking about getting opportunities and internships is one thing, but talking about it for Black people is a whole other ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about it for Black women is a whole other ball game.
Period.
So like it's crazy. So I'm kind of curious, like, does that ever register your mind when you're starting out? Like, even though you're just starting out, do you think about, okay, I I know I'm a black woman. I'm going into this industry where it's obviously I'm probably going to be the only one I see in most of the spaces I'm in, or I feel like they might try to lowball me because I know the statistics are like, I don't know, what is your general thought process of being a black woman and trying to get these opportunities?
It's funny that we're discussing this because one thing that I really want to write is the fact that I'm going to law school and the law hates me, for lack of a better, or more
Mm-hmm.
poetic sense. But I am a black woman who is pursuing her JD. Given everything that's been going on, given America's history, um, it's pretty daunting to think that this is the career that I'm going into. Um,
Yeah.
Given the demographic of it being mostly white heterosexual males at the top and anywhere in the field, uh, coming in not only as a woman but a black woman is definitely in my mind. Even the other day when I was, going through my application papers, putting in my race, I was like, "Ooh, should I put black? Should I not?"
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
had seen on social media, people were like, if you have all these other names, if you have ethnic names and you're from a different country and you're black, put all those names. Let them hire you. Make them
Yeah.
hire you because this is the time. And I feel like those sentiments are really empowering because for me, and I hope this is the same for everyone, going through life, you shouldn't be ignorant to the circumstances you're walking into. When it comes to this, I don't know what I'm going to encounter when I'm working in an office. I don't know what kind of clients I'm going to encounter because just because you come to me and you have the money doesn't mean that you like me.
Yep.
You could
Yep.
very well hate that I'm a black woman, but you come to me because I work for a specific firm and you've been referred to me and you're just going to go
Mm-hmm.
with the flow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many hypotheticals that can come up. And once again, like I said, with Corona, I think what I have to remember is that I just have to take everything in stride. You know, I know who I am. I'm constantly evolving, but I also know my morals and my ethics, and those are going to stay intact. There's no way that I'm going to change that I'm a black woman. I would never want to be anything else or anyone else. So
Amen.
I just have to enter any situation I go into knowing that, knowing what I'm capable of, and also being comfortable with what I don't know. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, when it comes to acknowledging what I don't know, it is scary going into a workforce that's predominantly white, not knowing everything.
Yes, I agree.
Where I am with Ebony, even though everything has just started out, the fact that I'm surrounded by black women, it puts my mind at ease at a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is here to learn. We all want to push each other. And there's this collective go get it attitude. You know,
Mm-hmm.
going into a space where it's predominantly white people, I don't know what stereotypes they might have of me. I don't know what preconceptions or experiences they've had with other black women. So now I feel like partly it's me staying true to myself, but also maybe even without knowing it, pushing past all the other negative experiences my coworkers and colleagues might have experienced with someone who looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, that's something I'm going to have to experience and I'm definitely going to have to learn from. But
Yeah.
I hope that, and I pray that I'm not going to shy away from something and cover up for the fact that I don't understand what's going on at my job just because I don't want to seem like I don't know anything as a black woman. Because clearly, if we're both here at the same job,
Yes.
clearly we
Yes.
have the credentials.
We got the credentials. What you said hit me because I feel like I definitely felt that way. I think when I first got my first full-time internship and jobs, like I kind of like when I didn't know something, I would be scared to like speak up, and I'd be nervous to be like, I need help, because I assumed so many things. I assumed like, oh God, like they hired me, I'm here, like they expect me to know everything already, or it was
Yeah.
like, sometimes it's kind of like I know I'm the only Black person here, and it's like I don't want to ask a question and feel stupid. Like I never wanted to feel stupid, and like I know I wasn't dumb, I know I wasn't stupid. Like I got these positions because obviously, like you said, a girl got the credentials, but it was still always in the back of my mind. Like I never want to look dumb, I never want to look stupid, and it's just such a bad thing to have. It's just something that like we have to like deprogram our minds about. And it's something I feel like for me personally I'm still learning to this day. It's not being afraid of like
Yeah.
it's not being afraid of not knowing what you don't know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like I have so much more to talk about, but I don't want to take too much more of your time.
Girl,
So
go ahead. I have nothing to do.
okay, excellent. So question. So it might sound pity what you owe. The whole idea is that like I was speaking from a place of frustration, and whatever I said in the song is something I wish I would have said. Like it's something I wish I could have said out loud, or it's something I wish I could have said to like a boss, or it's something I wish I could have said to like an employer. Like pay me what you owe. Like you pay me cheap and feed me lies and say bon appetit. Like everything is good. You know what is
Mm-hmm.
something you wish, either if it to whoever or if it's just to the world, like what is one thing you wish you could have said regarding just like your whole college experience, your post, I mean, you're just now post grad, but what is it something you kind of wish you could say out loud that you felt like it wasn't necessarily like appropriate to say like in the workplace, or it wasn't appropriate to say at school, or something like that? F the system.
Right. I think it would be probably a few things, but one that's coming through: don't ask me a question if you don't want to hear the answer. That's a big one. I strongly dislike being in a situation where an adult and I are having a conversation, even though I'm grown. I'm 22. Period. I'm grown. But an older individual will be having a conversation with me, and they'll ask me a question, and then when I give my response, they want to downplay it. If you just ask me a question, but you're gonna shoot down everything that I just said, then why would you ask me? Because what this conversation is counterproductive then, especially if this is in a workforce. Why would you ask me that if there's something else I could be doing? If you had intentions of what you were gonna say, regardless of my answer, then we just wasted time.
Yes.
Another thing would be connect me with people who actually want to be connected. Now,
Good one.
that
Good one.
means I have this amazing English advisor. I have two amazing English advisors who, when I'm stressed or when I don't know what's going on with myself or academics, they bring me back. Now, they will help me as far as they can, but there have been situations where they've connected me with someone, and for whatever reason, the person does not get back to me. There is no sort of follow-up. Even certain professors that I reached out to a certain professor, asked him if he would be my mentor because I had a class with him and I loved the way he taught me. I had to run this man down. He was not answering my emails. I had to go find him in his office. Then he finally said yes. Yes, I understand now with Corona things have changed, but at the end of the day, you have a student who had one summer class with you and who, off of the strength of that one class, is so passionate about learning more from you. But now you've severed that tie because you lack consistency.
Yes.
And that bothers me. It's like and it's upsetting for me because it's like, here I am, English is my thing, and I feel so unprepared in the world of English because I have not had that backbone, that foundation and support from the academics in my life. Now come to poli-sci, the major I didn't even think I was going to have. I'm surrounded by advisors who are ready at the drop of the hat to help me with my personal statements. I just hopped on a call today with my advisor to talk about accessing my transcripts to send to law schools. It's frustrating for me that the major I didn't expect to even take on is the major that I feel the most comfortable in and the most prepared in.
Yeah. And just a side question, I don't know, why do you think that is? Because that's pretty random. Because usually you would think a professor who sees a student that's genuinely interested in content and interested in learning more would be like gun ho on like trying to help them succeed.
I think part of it is maybe getting caught up in other obligations. You know, like, I understand that professors have classes to teach. I definitely get that. But I don't know if maybe they don't think that students aren't serious when they reach out. I really don't know, because my thing is, if I'm sending you multiple emails, if I'm showing up at your office, if I'm trying to continue dialogue with you long after our class has ended, for one, you know, I'm not trying to kiss your butt. Like, I already have my grade. The class is over. But based on the experience that I had with you in class, I want to continue learning.
Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to go to school to facilitate that learning outside of the classroom? And so it just, it seems very weird, you know? It's kind of like that mentality I had when I was younger in school, when it's like, okay, summer vacation, no school, period. That's it. And I feel like that's kind of the mindset that some professors have, which is so weird to me. Like, as soon as the class is over, boom, new batch of students.
Yeah. Interesting. And I also wanted to ask one more question. What was it? Oh, okay. What is one thing you feel like you wish you would have learned throughout your whole college experience, as it pertains to getting you ready for, it could be life in general, just like life skills, or it could be specifically within your industry, or it could be about getting like that first full-time job, or it could be about like trying to pursue your master's. But what's one thing you just wish you would have learned that you don't feel like you attained?
Ooh, one thing.
Or maybe you learned everything.
I think for me personally, I work on a very personalized one-on-one basis. That's how I thrive. That's how I understand things better. And so when there's someone who, I wish that there was someone who, you know, was my one advisor for everything, that consistently would sit with me to help me through anything. And I know that seems like a lot to ask, but I also came from a high school that was in New Hampshire. I went to boarding school, and I had one advisor, and she dealt with my classes, she dealt with any of my social issues, she dealt with any of my emotional, mental issues. You know, we had that connection, we had that trust. And I felt like I had someone to lean on that was older than me and had experience. When I came to college, I felt like I was kind of lost. I felt like I was in it by myself. And the story about how I even found out about Ebony shows that.
Yeah.
I found that because of a friend that I met at school. You know, Medina doesn't know all the answers, and obviously my professors don't, but they have a lot more experience. And so for me, I just wish that there was more consistency. I wish someone had really set out things for me to be like, you know, if you're interested in this, I think you should contact this person, this person, this person. You should look into that, this and this. More so for my English side. For political science, I feel like I'm definitely set. But for English, I wish there was more of like a concentrated direction or person that had spoken to me and just, you know, really set me in the tone of understanding different tracks. Like, okay, if you're thinking about getting your PhD, like, let's unpack that. Let's talk about that. You know, I only had one professor who did that, and it did help. But I feel like if I'm in this major now for 4 years, I feel like it should be a continuous checkup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More of like a kind of mentorship in a sense just throughout the entire journey, because
Yeah,
college is the entire journey. It's not just education, it's like you said, it's
exactly.
emotional, it's everything. So I completely agree with what you're saying, 100%. And as a 2020 grad, thankfully you already have like internships kind of locked right now and you're kind of good to go on those fronts. But for those who just graduated and are trying to apply for jobs, but like unfortunately a lot of companies have like froze their hiring. They're not really bringing on new interns. They're kind of keeping whatever they have. What kind of advice do you want to offer them in terms of like just getting some kind of experience on their belt or just getting through this time period in terms of COVID, but also in terms of like the Black uprising we're seeing?
Whew. Well, first and foremost, with anything, it's take note and take care of your mental health. Um, the friends that I have watching this live, I mean, they know the ins and outs of my whole mental health crisis and highs and lows. And I think now, especially for members of the Black community, with everything going on, being in tune with your emotions, taking time to separate from whatever negative energy you need to separate from in order to keep yourself sane is really important. Um, when it comes to graduating and not having an internship or not having a job, I would say, and this is, advice for myself too, because who knows how long I'm going to have any of my internships. I think it's just to really tap into your personal skills. What do you like to do? What do you know you're good at? And then I found with my friends that my passions and my energy, it attracts similar people into my life. So I would suggest that people really tap into their friendships, ask their friends what they're interested in, ask them what types of jobs, who they've met, different internship opportunities that they've had. You never know what people have done in the past. You could be best friends with someone and not know that they've had amazing internships or
Mm-hmm.
have partnered with different brands, or know someone who's partnered with other people. So I think taking into account your friends as a really strong networking opportunity is important. Um, Social media is really big, and so for some people, building a social media presence can be really helpful for whatever they want to pursue.
Yeah.
I would say also, if you have a college advisor, even if it's one, even if you had a class with them and you haven't talked to them in a while, but like you two had a good relationship, I'd say shoot your shot. Reach out to them,
Yeah.
um, see if they remember you. I mean, hopefully, you've made a good impression with them, but reach out to them. Let them know your anxieties, what you're feeling. If you're nervous about any sort of internship opportunities that you've seen, and really tap into them because you never know who has connections where. And I found that connections can really get you far. You just have to reach out. Don't assume that people don't know anything or they don't know anyone. So I say, like, cast your net really far. I'm also open if people want to talk to me. It's not like I have that much, but I'm going through the same journey that a lot of people in my situation are. So I'm definitely open to anyone who, is stressed out and wants to talk. I can definitely do that too.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't even discount where you're at. Like as humans we tend to do that, feel like, oh, like I was just doing it this morning, like feeling like, oh, I'm not really anywhere. Why would anyone want to like listen to me, or why
True.
would anyone want to hear me speak? But like you've done a lot. You intern at Ebony. You intern at an entertainment law office. Like these are places like people in your peer group and your age bracket, or in our group in our age bracket, like are trying to do. So absolutely, Once I post this on IGTV, if anyone does feel like they want to like reach out to Sydney, definitely hit her up in her DMs and like start that conversation and connect with each other. With that being said, Sydney, this was such a good conversation. I'm so
Girl, we're
glad.
done. I'm like, I could talk
Yeah,
to you forever.
I'm telling you, this, I don't even know. I wasn't even timing this, but like, it was such a good conversation. Like, I was kind of all over the place, but like,
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
know. Oh, I was, whew,
You were
girl.
great. Like all the
um,
conversations flowed. Like your energy. Let me tell y'all. I know I cut you off. I am so sorry, but I have to plug you just in case you don't plug yourself. First of all, your energy when you contact me, it was great. It was so positive. It was what I needed. Very encouraging, very warm. And even now, you know, like your questions just fed off of each other. You even virtually cultivated a comfortable space for me. So, first and foremost, I thank you for having me here. I thank Medina for putting us in touch with each other. And one, I hope a lot of people listen to your song because you're speaking facts. And I really look forward to the other panels that you bring on. Definitely praying blessings and abundance on your whole journey. Definitely.
ooh, Lord, it's gonna make me emotional. But thank you so much. Yeah, I think, like you said, these conversations are just really important to have, and I think, like I said, we kind of discount wherever we're at in our journey, but this
Yeah.
journey, wherever we're at, is going to be helpful to someone. So I know whoever hears this is going to be super grateful for your words. And again, just thank you so much for participating. And yes, so today was day one. This is Sydney Clarke, and tomorrow we're gonna have a guest. I'll post it on Instagram right after this. And yeah, we're gonna continue the conversations. We're still talking 2020 grads. And yeah, we're gonna get things going. So thank you so much again, Sydney. And you can tell people where to follow you, any projects you're working on, just all of that. Where to find you.
So you guys can follow me. I have my main page, which is this one, Sudney SUDNEYY. But I also have my writing slash my blog page, which is Sydney.a writes. I think it is. Yeah. I have a blog. You guys can read my stories. That would be great. You know, interact with me. I love talking to you guys. Here, I mean, reach out to me. Tell me the stories that you like. Any conversations that you want to talk about in terms of my writing or my process. Definitely hit me up. You can DM me on either account. You'll probably get a better response, faster response from my main account. But yeah, definitely encourage you guys to hit me up. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Nice. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.